Hey everybody, how are you? It's been a long time since I recorded a video. Try to make this short. I know it won't be though. Things are great on one level, which is that I basically figured out the system, figured out the life. So I've been making money making, collecting cans and bottles. Well, I saw the winter coming, so I figured, my God, I better figure something out because it's great fun in the summer, but when it gets really, and it's even good fun in the fall and spring, but when it gets really cold, it's really not very profitable or anything. So I buckled down and I just worked the system, and I figured out that I can actually only work 1 day a week on recycling day, but just work really hard, really competitively. As I do, I keep notes of which areas have, which houses really, which buildings have a lot of students who drink a lot. I mean, every can is 20 cents. So I've got, so I figured it out that I really don't have to work the other 6 days as long as I work that seventh day, 12 hours. I make enough money for the week. And so I did that really hard. And I've accumulated enough money so I don't really have to work for 2 weeks. So now I'm really set. I won't run out of money and I have savings. And I also figured out a couple of other ways to create an income for myself under the same circumstances, which means no boss, no clients, no customers, no hours. That's a lot to ask for, but I was able to figure out three other ways that are contingency plans, which I already tested out and worked just fine. And in fact, they're more profitable and easier, but I cannot stay home. The can business for me has kept me sane. And I'm going to tell you the bad news about all this. Now that I'm calmed down, I'm in my apartment, as much as I want to be. I've finally looked through all the electronic equipment and all the musical instruments and all the gadgets that I've accumulated from finding them over the past 2.5, 3 years. And I have I have a lot of equipment. I really am set up. I mean, I have a better life than I've ever had in 45 years, and that's without working a job. I worked for 30 years and I was not able to accumulate so much amazing stuff. And even multiples. For instance, I have shoes. I think I told you guys, kids, they wear shoes and they throw them out after like 3 months because they want to look perfect, apparently. So they leave them outside these shoe stores. And I'm a small guy, so I find shoes now for 3 years. I have about 35 pairs of shoes, which I've showed people. Sneakers, which are beautiful sneakers. I mean, they were all like Air Jordans and, $100 or more each. And they're all in like B plus to A plus condition. You would never know. Some of them, you would look at them even underneath to the soles, and you even smell them. They smell brand new. So, that goes to show you how money is wasted when you have it, which I've learned because now that I make more money, I waste a lot. I've noticed that when I was living on $10 a day, I was doing just fine and I was happier. That's the irony. So now that I have everything I need, and I have like 5 printers, I have a synthesizer, which I'm really happy about to make music, which I gave up 30 years ago to start working. I have an electric fireplace I found. I have, all my couches and beautiful tables, and I have 2 pieces of art that are just gorgeous in heavy frames. I have 4 stand-up trees, 2 vacuum cleaners, one you hold in your hand and one you move around. I have a video game console with stand-up guitar and drums that you play. It's Guitar Hero. I have 3 computers and 6 laptops. 3 of the laptops I got working. The other 3 I gave up on. I have about 6 monitors and screens. And this is funny because I started out and I have another 100 things that I found. I mean, if not 200. I have little handheld video cameras. I have drones. I have an electric remote control car. I have I have a popcorn machine maker. I have a laminator. I have a shredder. I have oh my God, I can go on. I can go on. I'm looking around and like everything in here, obviously, I found, and my furniture. Anyways, and it's funny because I started all this off thinking I was going to be anti-materialistic, which I still am. But when you find this stuff for free, you know, I mean, 3 heaters, two air conditioners. So if this one breaks next summer, I have a backup. Uh, so I feel really, really good about life because I don't need to buy much ever again. I made sure that anything that I might need, I took a second or a third one if I saw it, like shoes and printers, which break. I have a guitar that I found. I can go on. What else? You don't want. I have a whole box of toys that I haven't opened up yet. Gadgets of all kinds, electronics. All right. So the bad news is that now that I'm in, I'm not running around expending energy collecting cans. Even though I'm on medication to keep me calm and to keep me happy, which I always have been pretty happy, there's this energy in me which is just driving me crazy. I can't seem to stay home. It's like I don't know if it's, I think I've always had it, but never quite recognized it. And maybe that's why I was angry all the time, because when I stay home for more than an hour and a half, I mean, I either have to go to sleep or just get out of here. And it doesn't matter if it's quiet or it's noisy. I just, I don't know what it is. I've never really felt this. It's ADHD maximus. Now, another thing I want to tell you guys, my God, I recovered so many memories from the earliest days, and I don't want to bore you all, but it was just sick. It was sick. Before my father was caught molesting my brother, I remember now perfectly. I think I told you people that I remembered my father looking down on me when I was like 2, 3 years old, telling me I wasn't his friend. Now I remember that I was about 5. I figured it all out. He was looking down at me and said, "You're not my friend. We're not friends. If you weren't my son, I wouldn't love you. I only love you because you're my friend. Because you're my son." And he would say that for years. I never understood it. And now I remembered about a month ago or whatever, a little, not even. I remembered something else that followed. I remembered my mother then getting angry at my father and saying, "Oh, would you shut up with that already? He's a young boy. He doesn't know what you're talking about." And that was it. That solidified my story. I wasn't 100% sure that I was the cause, that I was the snitch, but I was pretty sure what happened. I've told you guys that as these videos have gone on, that I remembered speaking to a child psychologist, right? I hadn't remembered that for the first 2 years. That slipped my mind, but I finally remembered it. I'm like, maybe that was it. Maybe that's why they brought me. They told me they brought me there because I had tested high on an IQ test, but my marks were low, which was probably a nice thing my mother told me, because she made me think I was smarter than I probably am. And that probably helped me educate myself, I suppose. Maybe it was true, but I doubt it. I think, no, it's not true. They brought me there because the teacher who my brother opened up to in sex ed class in grade 5 was also my English teacher. And she probably saw something in me, and she probably thought, I better help this kid. They brought me to child psychologist. I should go on Ritalin. My mother said, "I'm not going to put you on any pill." She goes, "You don't want to go on a pill every day, do you?" And of course, I was a young boy. I just went up and go, "I don't know. No, I guess not." And I was never put on Ritalin. So here I took 40 extra years till I diagnosed myself and got on ADHD meds, which thank God I am on. The Concerta, it's why I've been able to get my life really in order. It's been able to help me forget about the memories for the moment. I can put it aside because my cortex is on full blast, and the animal in me is a little bit docile. It's not docile. It's still active, but the cortex is more active, so I'm more into. You know what? I heard someone say that the mind is the future and the body is the past. And I've been thinking, it's true. It's like my mind is my future, but my body, my reptilian side, is the past. It still feels the abuse like it was yesterday. So let me tell you something that I remembered. So I'm the one who squealed at my father, and for a couple of days, and even to this day, sometimes I get guilt feelings. I said, "My God, no wonder my parents and my brother scapegoated me, and held me in contempt my whole life. I never understood why." It wasn't just that they needed a scapegoat. It's that I broke up the family. My brother agreed to stay quiet. My mother agreed to stay quiet. My father was put in his place by the authorities or whoever, and I'm the one who cracked it all open and ruined it. But then my father has been arrested several times since, molesting kids who were not boys, who were not my brother or I. He's a psychopath because, as I've researched, Pedophiles who molest both their children and strangers are 90. It was like 89% or 98% or 88% psychopathic. There was 80 of the group. That high percentage were considered to be pure psychopaths. And I've told you from the beginning, my father was just. He admitted it to me that he didn't feel anything for other people. He smashed his head open diving. I'm sure that's what it was. He was 8 years old. They never took him to the hospital. He was not. He is not just a gay pedophile. He's also has a learning disability, just like most of the psychopaths. To be honest, that's why when people brag about being psychopathic, I mean, the ones I know, true psychopaths, the criminal psychopaths, my father and my friends and my acquaintances who are sitting in prison doing life, and my ex-girlfriend, these people have learning disabilities. You cannot be an intelligent person and not have the ability to empathize or understand what it is to feel, you know. So so now I know what it is. I hate to bring it up to this early days. My mother was a stripper, as I told you I found out, or a prostitute. And what would happen was she would leave me alone with my father when I was basically from 6 months old, whatever it was, from the earliest days. And my father would molest me. I remember now. And when I'm a little boy, I'm not even a boy yet. I'm a baby. I'm a baby, and now I remember his mouth all over my ears, and he's just licking me like a dog. I mean, he's disgusting. All right, he's disgusting. He's he's sick beyond what I've thought until now. He's so sick, it is difficult to truly hate him. I mean, I find times I want to kill him, and then I find times I just want to call him and say, "My God, you sick bastard!" I'm like, "What the hell happened?" You know what I mean? Like, can you explain it to me? Because I would love to be able to tell my audience and figure this into my work, because I can't understand it. All right, I was not even a boy, even if he's gay and a pedophile. I wasn't even pubescent. I was pre-toddler. I was a bag of mush. He's disgusting. All right, he's disgusting. So so that was it. My mother would abandon me every day to be a stripper or prostitute. Totally forget about her kids, living the narcissistic lifetime, doing cocaine. And meanwhile, she left her boys with her sick pedophile husband, who she knew was a pedophile and she knew was molesting us all along. I remember my father with his tongue up my ass when I was about. I don't know how old. Like, we were just moving into the house, and maybe I was 4, and I was screaming, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I didn't know what he was doing, and I didn't even know why I was screaming, "What are you doing?" I was just like, "What are you doing?" Right? And my mother walked in, and she looked down and says, "Yeah, what are you doing?" And she says, "Oh," and he said, "Oh, he's so cute." Now I believe that. I believed that for 40 years. That's why he was always on my case, until my brother broke it open, and then for the following 2 years, I slowly unraveled it through. I mean, the investigation work I've done. I still do investigation work. I'm trying to find out still where my father's mafia connection, the early Jewish mafia in the city, where he fit in and what he was involved in, other than the scams that I know of. I know he was involved in insurance scams and telemarketing scams and sales-related scams, gold maybe, that kind of thing, financial crimes. But considering he's a hardcore psychopathic pedophile of the gay variety, I can't imagine it ended there. They would have used him to do stuff. I'm glad I went to the police, because although I sometimes say to you guys or onto my videos, I don't think he was a sadist, I often think sometimes that he probably killed boys. He must have. He must have. He wasn't caught often enough. And he has such an evil side to him, and such a cruel, sadistic, and just inhuman side. And as for my mother, just a real bitch to drag me through the torture she dragged me and my brother to, just to keep the secret so she can continue to snort cocaine. All right, look, I'm going to stop talking about it, but I also going to bring something up. People have told me, today someone told me, and people on the internet have told me, just let it go, move forward. But you see, it's not like having a psychopath or a narcissistic girlfriend or boyfriend. My psychopathic girlfriend, who was a lot more dangerous and had me in a lot more danger for my life. I mean, she was setting me up for a big one. I don't want to do research into her because I don't really care. It did not affect my personality. But when you've grown up with a psychopathic parent, I think they're both. I know my dad's a psychopath. I know he has no emotional, depth. My mother is a sociopath. I think she has it, but she'd rather not look at it because then she'd have to face the fact that she's a woman who was brought up traditionally and ended up giving it up for cocaine, and in exchange had to accept living with a pedophile and the two boys he ruined by molesting as children. I mean, she's disgusting. She could have taken us away from him. She could have fought for it. Instead, she only fought for herself. She fought to take control of the money. Anyways, so it's very hard to forget it because when you're going throughout your day, at least I go throughout my day and I'm in, I'm still recovering. I'll catch myself doing things and I'll ask myself, where did I get that idea? I'm not sure if I told you this because I record a video a day. I just don't upload many, but I was waiting for the doctor and I was at the appointment and I was thinking, okay, I'm already here. It's halfway done, or it's as good as done. And then I caught myself. I said, what do you mean it's as good as done? Where did I get that? You see, when I find myself with these sayings that are like in my head, that are part of my inner speech, I've been, for 2.5, 3 years now, I've been watching my inner speech and trying to pick out every little part of this program and decipher it. And that's why I can't stop thinking about it. You see, it's not like I can just move on. It's not like a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a wife or a husband. You can move on and find a new one. I can't find new parents. I had to reparent myself from the beginning, and I feel I've done a really great job. I'm proud of myself on that one level, in one respect. I still often want to commit homicide against my parents. I definitely have a split personality because, half the time I totally understand what happened. Different times, they were obviously traumatized. My father was molested by his father. They did the best they could after that. They kept it hidden from me, so I was more or less kept innocent and happy. But then I think they killed my brother. My mother didn't have to drag me through this. My father's an animal, and then I want to kill him. And then I start, so yes, ideally I'll move away from it. But it's part of me, and it doesn't really affect me because I have the better life than I ever had. I mean, who cares if I move forward? What do you want me to do? Get a job and end up in hell again? I have projects going. I'm working for myself now. I don't have to stress. I can work right now if I want to for 1 hour or 24 hours if I wanted to. I mean, it's just great what I figured out for myself, and yeah, that's really all I gotta say for now. But it's just really hard. I was better off and I was happier being desperate. As I've become less and less traumatized and more back into like the world, it's gotten worse and worse. It was fun being homeless, and it's fun collecting cans, and that's why, even if I make money with my online projects and I start, a real income, so to speak, that's what I'm saying, on the books, I'm still going to go out some Friday and Saturday nights because it's fun. When the kids are out and they're partying and they're drunk and they're scary, some of them, and some of them are, the girls look like they're half under. I mean, it's fun. I'm almost 50, so, I went out to the nightclubs for 15 years straight. I do miss the crowds and the excitement. and just the whole insanity of it all. So I get to do it, you know. So it's fun. Life is great. I cannot complain, you know. I don't have parents to drag me down. I don't have an older brother to criticize me. And by the way, he was really an idiot. I'm sorry. I started this whole trauma off thinking he was a completely innocent victim, poor guy. He didn't deserve to die. Blah blah blah. And it's still true. I mean, he didn't deserve to die, and I feel really bad. On the other hand, he's an idiot. I'm sorry. Okay, his narcissism kept the secret in his heart. I was his best friend, his buddy, and he never opened up to me about it. He never told me. He never told anyone. All his friends. Maybe he told his wife, but even then, had my brother told me, I would have figured out what my parents were really about, because he didn't know about the prostitution. He didn't know about the cocaine use. He didn't know my father was still living with boys. He didn't know they weren't really married. I mean, now I know something. My parents never slept in the house. My dad never slept in the house. It's like, it's crazy. I never had a father. My mother and father, they bought the house to show everybody that they were normal. And my mother lived in the suburbs with her 2 kids, and my father would show up for dinner, and then after he would say he was going to play racquetball, or he was going to play hockey, and then he'd go back to his own place until the next dinner. And that's why whenever I woke up, I never saw him go to work. I never saw my father work. He never worked. He's living off. See, they inherited millions and millions, you know, and they only told us about like $1 million. So my brother worked. My brother was screwed, by the way. You know what my mother did? This is sick. Part of the deal was that my brother was going to go to med school, right? He was going to keep quiet about my father's molesting him, and they convinced him that was how he would. Now he understands more about the body than the average boy, so he can. So they're going to make him a doctor. So he felt the golden trials, right? That was the trick. When he decided at 22, and my parents ran away from us, that he probably woke up and realized, I don't want to be a doctor. And now my parents are not here, so why would I be a doctor? Like, I thought I was trying to make them happy, and you know what I mean? Just like what happened to me, really. Trying to make them proud. Well, he realized they abandoned him. He didn't care making them proud, so he stopped. And you know what my mother did? She took that money that was for him, that my grandmother, the rich grandmother on my father's side, had put aside for my brother to go to med school, and she put it up her nose. My mother also moved her mother, who was an invalid, from one. As soon as my grandmother, my mother's side, my mother was the executor of her estate when she was alive and when she was dead. And my mother, as soon as my grandmother lost the ability to make decisions for her own and speak, my mother moved her to a cheaper nursing home. You know, I mean, her logic was that since my grandmother, can't really interact, it doesn't matter. And now I know. My mother took the balance and put it up her nose. When I was younger, my mother used to give me egg sandwich every day, which I didn't like. I used to throw it away. I'd probably be, 5 inches taller if I was eating grade 1 through grade 5. I told her every day I don't like it. She didn't care. She gave me meat once a week, and the rest was egg sandwich. And she would say that it's too expensive to give me meat more than once a week. Today I know that what meat costs and how what it really costs to feed a family, especially back then. And I can tell you that she was putting my lunch money up her nose. And the funny thing is that my mother's big reason why she got married to my father was to get a nose job. She wanted to get a nose job. It was back then. It was $8,000. Today it's probably $1,500. They probably do it without even a consultation. Back then it was a new thing. My mother had a big Jewish nose. She wanted to get rid of it because she was a stripper. So she married my father for the money. And that's the first thing she did when she got married. I remember when they moved into the new house. It was around the same era, same time, 5, 6 years old, 4 to 7 maybe, and my mother got a nose job. And I think I may have won her heart over because I wrote her a little poem, and I was attached to my mother, up until just a few years ago, when I realized that she was not attached to me. So, anyways, there's no use telling me just to move forward and forget about it, because, even if I move forward on my own trauma, I'm working on other people's traumas through various projects and really that's, at least at the very minimum, anything I do in the future, my customers or clients will have undergone, some kind of trauma in their life. I am not going to be doing something like an Uber where I get people, the everyday person from A to B. In the past, I've had so many websites and e-commerce operations that basically sold to the public, and that's just not going to do it for me anymore. Making money or even improving the lives of people everywhere is not that important. For me, it's more important to bring people up from who are not even, at the level of you and I. Just like I was 3 years ago, and I've seen people, and I know people. I've seen people with their mothers, and I know people who are still in mesh with their family, and they don't know where to turn. And I'm gonna have to give them a domain and say, here you go. You'll meet other people. You don't have to watch videos. They're talking live, and join the conversation. You're gonna see right away that you're not alone, because I know two girls. One has her mother, one has her father in their life. They're both pretty girls, now in their 40s, one in their 50s, never been married, no boyfriends or that they live with, because they live with their parents. And the one doesn't live with her father, but her father is like, narcissistic parents. Is what I'm trying to say. All right, that has been a 25-minute video. You're going to see a lot more of me, and you're going to start seeing some produced videos, because I have, I never really got to my channel. I guess I began to enjoy life slowly but surely, and I know that all the videos I put out are going to take a lot of research, because this is just rambling from my own sense and for people who are suffering. But there's a lot of science stuff that I found and I experienced that really have nothing to do with trauma directly. But just wait out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Don't worry, I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing the best I've done. Going into this winter, knowing that I'm basically free. I have figured out a way to make a living that, or to survive. It's not really making a great living, but if I worked twice a day, I would be making a great living. But I've learned better to enjoy, and I'm just enjoying what I'm doing so much. All right, so hang in there. You're gonna see. I don't know. I'm just going on and on because I'm actually I'm just in a good mood. I'm in a good mood because I worked so hard to make it for this first of the month. I wanted to just make it because I didn't want to finish 2 months ago because I like going outside so much. So now that it's getting cold today, very cold, I have everything accumulated. I have tons of food. 2 computers, all my music. I don't know. I guess I'm back. I guess you can say I'm as recovered as I'm ever going to be. And thanks to the meds, I can tell you guys, without the Concerta, I wouldn't be able to be sitting here. I'd be outside running around just. Without Concerta, I have the same energy I have now, but it's not a positive energy. It's not a negative energy. It's just fuck. It's like fucking energy. It's. I forgot the word. It's the mojo. It's just animalistic. It's dysregulated. It's a very strong energy which goes either positive or negative by the moment, and the Concerta keeps it on the positive edge. And then there's my Seroquel, which puts me to sleep and keeps me from going psychotic, because I definitely have psychotic tendencies. I spoke to someone who was diagnosed. He has a schizophrenic diagnosis, and he described what he goes through when he has heavy psychosis. And I was like, all right, dude, then I definitely have psychosis. I had a feeling I was getting this borderline psychosis. Delusions. I'll talk about them in greater detail. But I've experienced a lot. And the truth is, I've experienced this my whole life. I just never noticed it. I was just never consciously aware of it. Like depersonalization and derealization, it happens to me all the time when I get a sudden trauma. Let's just say someone right now were to move in on top of me, and I were to hear that they were like 300 pounds and had heavy steps. That shock would put me into a state of derealization. I just wouldn't I'd be like, it puts me back to like, I can't believe this is the world. My safety my comfort, my womb is threatened, and it makes me think that the whole thing is like a womb. I lose track that this is like, 2018, and like there's people working, and it becomes this almost psychedelic perception in which everything else falls away except for the immediate. And that's got to be from early childhood trauma when my mother took me from her arms. She never breastfed me, but took me from her arms and gave me to a freaking psychopathic, homosexual pedophile who was my father to take care of me for a few hours. My father even admitted to me, he told me, I dropped you on your head when you were a kid so many times I lost count. Of course he did. Guys are responsible. Anyways, I'll leave it at that.